point of emphasis for the Syracuse defense.
Each year, they tend to use their speed and their full field ride, and it really changes games against lesser opponents to where they just steamroll them. They've got a really weird schedule dynamics and analytics this year. Like, they crush teams who can't keep up with them.
Their splits and their wins and losses are extreme. Here's Griffin Gallagher, D3 transfer from Gettysburg. Trevor Dubner in there as well in the second midfield. Lance Tillman, his shot blocked. And on the rebound, that one whistles wide. Harrison Schertzinger. A couple of big pieces missing for UNC as the clock resets to 60. No Sean Goldsmith, one of their top goal scorers. No P.J. Zinzer, senior, with a big left hand. They do get Johnny Schwartz back, however, today.
See a much better ball reversal by Carolina last week against Virginia. The ball was dying in sticks. Seen a better job here. Ball going east to west across the formation, asking this Syracuse defense to react.
Tillman against the short stick. Carter Rice spins it to McGovern, who had 8 points, 4-4 against Syracuse in Carolina's February win. McGovern against Brendan Aviles. Fakes the pass. Fires, bounce shot, score. Logan McGovern, grad transfer for Bryant. He battles cystic fibrosis. He's one of the best stories in lacrosse, and it's been that way for a few years.
The lefty has been a facilitator and a leader. He has fought through major adversity as a young man. Watch him post up against the shorty here. That's pretty good defense. I thought Will Mark, the goaltender, locks up and kind of guesses and doesn't have great balance or width on that shot. He should be sitting down there in his chair, making him as wide as possible. Instead, he brings his legs together. He locks up very narrow, and McGovern's magical season continues.
Another face-off won by Carolina. They're 4 for 4. Tyer over to Tillman. Syracuse sent Johnny Rachuza out to the face-off X that time. High rocket.
It's the make it, take it. The issue Syracuse has dealt with all season. You got a young, inexperienced defense, and you add kerosene to the fire because you can't win face-offs. And so by the end of the game, they're toast. They're tired.
You saw that in the Notre Dame game when Syracuse rallied back, took a fourth-quarter lead at 12-11, and Notre Dame scored the final 9 goals of the game by playing make it, take it lacrosse. Henry Schertzinger getting ready to check in. Here's Lance Tillman. Quick feet, they call him Dance Tillman. Now the freshman Matten, 8 straight games with a point. Picked up by the short stick on the switch.
Matten's got to win this matchup.
Against Jake Murphy. Plays it up top. Hard shot by Welford, backed up by Tillman, 20 to shoot. 9-1 the shot advantage by UNC so far. Tillman working on Cole, 15 to shoot. Now Schertzinger, who's got a goal, has the short stick Murphy. Schertzinger's quick. Here comes the slide. McGovern, left hand rocket, offline, 4 on the shot clock. DeMarco making a move. Can he get top side? He does. He shoots, but he did not beat the shot clock. Syracuse ball. And a man down for Syracuse. This defense has already been banged up. And Dylan Seguider, freshman pole, limping off the field. Sam Alexo trotting back on.
Sam's obviously going to have to do it all today for him.
No Landon Clary today. Yeah, their big-time defensive recruit, Riley Figueres, out for the season.
It's not a deep group to any extent. As you take a look at Joe Bresci and Dave Metzbauer, the head coach and offensive coordinator against Carolina, you said shots were 9-1. I think it's 10-1 now. Time of possession is completely skewed here as Carolina goes into their 10-man.
The goal is open. Here's Murphy across the midfield line, and Ishroff Quint-Kesnick. It is a neutral site ACC game at Good Counsel High School in Olney, Maryland, between Syracuse and UNC. Possession so far tilted toward UNC. Shots 10-1 in favor of UNC. 2-1 Carolina on the scoreboard. Second meeting of the season between these two. North Carolina won 19-13 back in February.
You could argue that this is an elimination game, Manish. Loser of this game has dug themselves a massive hole. Carolina cannot afford a loss to non-top 20 RPI Syracuse. And the Orange, considering who they play after this game, they'd stay in the hunt. You win, you stay alive.
Spallina feeding in front to Hiltz off the pipe on the ground. And it's picked up by Carolina. Joe Bresci talked to us about ground balls and the lack of success in that department against Virginia really being the culprit last Friday.
50-50 ground balls that came up Cavaliers in that dominant performance in a torrential rain storm. I had high hopes pregame. Next thing you know, the Cavaliers were up 16-4.
Chaos in the middle of the field. And Spallina's got it for Syracuse. Quickly up ahead. On a bounce. This is Cole Kirst. The Kirsts have really become the first family of lacrosse at the moment.
Pro-orange crowd here. As I said earlier, if they can trade possessions, if they can somehow muck up the face-offs and trade possessions, I think their offensive efficiency is pretty darn good. This is a great passing team, a young Syracuse team.
You got three Canadians out there right now with Finn Thompson, Alex Simmons, and Owen Hiltz. Here's Simmons, transfer from Denver, 4th overall pick in the NLL draft. Going low, that's Finn Thompson. 18th of the season. He's coming off a hat trick, and he's even to the game at 2.
That's exactly what I'm talking about in terms of a double team drawn by Simmons, 19 in blue. The ball is immediately out of his pocket and then spun across the formation. Thompson does the dirty work on the wing. Good possession for the Orange in front of this pro-Syracuse crowd here at Good Counsel.
Denise Schroff, Quint Kasnick, Joey Spallina, the terrific freshman for Syracuse, an assist so far. He's now up to 58 points. This is game 13 through 12 games. He's putting together numbers that compare and in some ways are even better than Mike Powell's numbers as a freshman. That is not to compare those two. It's not an apples to apples comparison. But in some ways, on this team, there's more weight on Spallina's shoulders than there was on Powell's shoulders on his team at Syracuse, which was, what, coming off a national championship.
And I think what makes lacrosse such a fascinating sport, they share very few athletic traits, okay? Mikey Powell might have been one of the fastest, quickest, most explosive players. Joey Spallina is not fast. The trait they share, though, the eye, the mind. Joey passing, always on time, always on target. His mind's a step ahead. He reads the game at an NFL quarterback-like level. He sees things before they happen. And then he picks spots. It's not like he's making a lot of mistakes. I mean, his game is clean. It's efficient. I've been so impressed.
Michael Leo down the alley, and the save made by Colin Krieg. Now, Krieg's numbers warrant context. In ACC play, 36%. Doesn't tell the whole story as McGovern shoots high. Sometimes the way Carolina plays with the 10-man ride, Quint, you know this as a goalie, you're going to be in a spot where teams will get slam dunks on you.
I've never seen a year where you're giving up so many empty nets. That's held against my save percentage too, Anish.
Yeah, you must love that. You must love that.
That's held against my save percentage. Go figure. I'm not even in the goal. Carolina looks so much more comfortable this week than they did a week ago in that loss, that home loss at Dorrance in the rain against Virginia. It's like watching a different team.
Tillman against Cole. Now picked up by Max Rosa. Tillman takes the contact, still dancing.
Great defense by Rosa.
A pass knocked down on the ground, 30 to shoot, comes to the Cuse. 3 turnovers for Carolina.
It's a nice clear because it's out early, out quickly. No opportunity for Carolina to settle back and roll up into their 10-man ride where they've got sharp teeth.
Cole Kirst now, graduate student, came over from Lehigh, a captain.
He's had a nice year. Really been productive, leadership, 27 points. He's a physical downhill dodger with an offense that kind of lacks ball carrying excellence.
Luke Roa out of the midfield, another freshman. And Griffin Cook cranks and scores. And Syracuse has its first lead of the afternoon.
This is team offense, and this is what has Syracuse fans so bullish on the future. Starts with a wing dodge by Roa. Ball is transitioned through Kirst. One more. Defense has to rotate. Step down shot left-handed from the wing. That's just a gorgeous look at really simplistic team offense. Again, we talk about ball reversal. There it is. You draw the double team, get the ball out of your stick. All these Syracuse guys play with a pretty shallow pocket in each. The ball's moving and getting in and out of sticks quickly.
You're Carolina, you're probably thinking, okay, we'll give Griffin Cook that shot. Career 18% shooter, and he cashes in for his 9th of the season. And the face-off battle continues to be lopsided in favor of UNC. Tyre wins the draw.
It's been the storyline of their season. In key ACC games, too often Syracuse has lost the face-off battle 70-30.
Only 43% overall on the season. Tillman shaded by Cole. Harrison Schertzinger over to McGovern.
Think about the Orange win last week at Princeton. They caught a break because Tyler Sandoval from Princeton, their Fogo, is out for the year.
McGovern with a whistler wide. And then the injury early in that game to Sam English.
Yeah, Landon Clary and English colliding. And it was almost like a one-for-one trade. Princeton bouncing back today with a win over Dartmouth.
Ivy's going to be interesting. Cornell had a big win against Army. Penn over Harvard. And Yale, a much-needed win against Brown. Tillman turns the corner, missed the cage. And Syracuse with the backup.
Nice job by Will Mark. That's not a nice job at all, though.
Cuse turns it over. Matten! Cyclones inside for the goal. Flag down. Tied at 3. That was a direct result of poor decision-making.
You know, your mindset when you're a goaltender, you step on a field on a beautiful day like today to play a big game is number one, see the ball. Number two is do everything in my power to try to win this game. And that entails organizing your defense. It entails making educated and sound outlet passes. Turnovers like that are just cataclysmic for a Syracuse team who's going to lose faceoffs in this game and play too much defense. You just cannot afford. Not sure what the goaltender there was thinking on that turnover.
North Carolina now 7-1 on faceoffs. Tyre over to Matt Wright, former All-American.
So if you're Gary Gate, Dave Petramala, and you're Syracuse, okay, the face-off game here is getting away from you. Knowing that, Anish, you got to come up with possessions in some other way. Whether it's saves, you got to clear the ball efficiently, and you got to avoid turnovers. Maximize your fewer possessions.
Henry Schertzinger withstanding the contact. Now Matt.
You got to consider playing zone defense every now and then, because your defense in the humidity today is going to tire out.
Dewey Egan, 21 in white in there. Big 6'4" sophomore out of San Diego. McGovern against the short stick Rosa. Does the slide come? It does not. He misses, and the backup to Egan. 16 shots for Carolina, 6 on goal. Syracuse has 5 shots overall. Welford using the body, the hammer, misses. Quint, if you're Will Mark, at times this season, it's felt like he's defending the Alamo.
His save totals in some of these games, what do you have, 25 saves against Duke, I think. Coming into this game, he leads the country in total saves. He has been in the face of major onslaughts. And maybe that's what's been most impressive to me, Anish, just his cool, calm, level-headed. He says he does breathing exercises and meditation exercises. He seems like he doesn't rattle easily.
You look at the shots faced in some of these games, as Krieg denies one. That might have been close. Syracuse trying to break the 10-man ride. Now North Carolina coming the other way. Here's English all the way to the cage. Circles around, back to X, guarded by Finn Thompson. They've got Thompson caught on defense. McGovern with a bouncer offline. 1:04 to go in the first quarter, tied at 3.
Get to the end of the quarter here if you're the Orange without giving up any more goals. The defense has already got hands on hips. You can't win a faceoff. You can't clear against the 10-man. This field has been completely tilted left to right.
Will Mark in a 3-game stretch against Maryland, North Carolina, and Duke saw 50 shots, and 66 against Duke.
That was an entire season for Matty Palin.
Flag down.
McGovern. Off ball, unnecessary roughness.
And this Syracuse man up, Quint, they scored 5 goals in 10 chances in the first meeting against Carolina on the season, clicking at 58%, good for a 4th nationally.
These guys are must-see TV with the spacing and the passing. Unselfish, creative. Hiltz, 77 in blue on the far side of the field. The little lefty typically is the trigger man.
Finn Thompson over to Michael Leo. They play catch. 25 seconds to go in the quarter. Simmons now. Syracuse staying on the perimeter. Can they get inside? Spallina over to Simmons. Inside behind the back, Finn Thompson. And the back up to Burt Whistle, number 9 in blue. Has 8 man-up goals this season. Good for 2nd in Division I behind only teammate Joey Spallina.
Smart move to hold the ball at the end of this extra man, so there will be no face-off to start the second quarter. That is great news if you're an Orange fan.
Tied at 3 at Good Counsel High School here in Olney, Maryland.
Haymaker. Carolina should be winning this game, and it's tied at 3.
Carolina this season, again, it's been so uneven in their wins and losses. In their wins, they average 20 goals a game. They're winning their games by more than 12.5 goals. In their losses, they're scoring about 6 goals a game, giving up about 13. There's a 20% disparity in shooting percentage between wins and losses. It's extreme. Their ride against weaker teams, it's been the reason they've scored at 25 3 times this season. When the competition elevates and teams can clear better, different story. Syracuse in that first quarter just 4 for 7 on its clears.
The NCAA selection committee, Anish, takes a look at how many analytics? Very few.
RPI, strength of schedule, usually rule the day. Anthony DeMarco over to McGovern against Alexo. Mark takes away the angle with that big 6'3" frame.
Got to clear the ball now if you're Syracuse because you're not winning faceoffs. You can't. Those are killers.
Tillman dumps it back. Egan with a rocket. And Carolina on top 4-3. 6th goal of the season for Dewey Egan.
I mean, the storyline is set. Right now, the Orange are clearing 50%. 4 of 8. They're not winning any faceoffs. And they're their own worst enemy on turnovers like this. Carolina just floods the zone with white jerseys. Tillman sniffs this out and then finds a drop pass to Dewey Egan, 21 in white. I think Egan and James Matten, the youngsters, are going to have to emerge if Carolina wants to make a true NCAA tournament run.
Matten's a freshman, Egan's a sophomore. Egan, part of the #1 recruiting class in the country a season ago. Another face-off won by UNC. They continue to press downhill.
They respect Tyre, though. You see this? They're playing him like he's a real player.
Tyre shovels it back. And Quint, the other aspect of this game, face-offs, of course, part of the ground ball stat, but it seems Carolina's been, the aggressor on ground balls, 16-7 on GB so far. Dubner, Gallagher, and Harrison Schurtzinger, the midfield for UNC. It's the second midfield. Tillman from X. Snakes around. Plays it back to Dubner. Gallagher from the wing against Rosa. Got the right hand free. Shot blocked. Loose in front near the crease. And it's scooped away by Will Mark. Another failed clear by Syracuse. Can they get it back? They do. And that might be a penalty. Joe Bresci has his arms outstretched on the UNC sideline. That will be a loose ball push, but without possession. So North Carolina ball. And Quint, that is essentially a failed clear.
4 of 9 now clearing Syracuse.
That's not good.
You generally don't want to throw the ball towards the middle of the field on a clear to a man who's covered.
Missed opportunity there. McGovern had Tillman on the doorstep. He just couldn't handle the pass. And minor victory for Syracuse. They get the ball across midfield.
Orange have brought their fans here today. Good council, packed. Far side, you got the VIP section. Underneath us, it's a sea of Auto Nation. Interesting game here in a neutral site, Anish, being in the ACC. Uneven scheduling this year.
Griffin Cook turns it over.
Both coaches felt that this would be an opportunity to come halfway, meet halfway, cut down on expenses, and do a little recruiting in the area.
Mark the save on Tillman's shot. Gary Gate initially reached out to both Duke and Carolina about playing a neutral site game this year and next year. They got this one on the books against UNC, and then next year, teams only play each other once, and the ACC tournament comes back. And when that happened, it would have been easy for Joe Bresci to say, hey, listen, we're giving up a home game. Let's play at Chapel Hill. But Joe Bresci decided to honor the commitment.
It'll open up an opportunity for Syracuse to put Cornell and Army back on their schedule. Longtime rivals. And what would Syracuse look like right now with a win over Cornell or Army? What would
It's a resume right now without any meat. Even the Princeton win last week. Yes, Princeton was a semifinalist a season ago. Princeton has an RPI outside the top 20. So when the committee looks at that, beating Princeton this season so far, it doesn't give you anything.
I like the extra long possession now for Syracuse because their defense has been up against it so far in this game.
Gabbert, the Brown transfer, defending Leo. Simmons now will go to work on the short stick, Frankenheimer. Now those will draw a flag as Simmons gets mauled in the back alley.
This is just losing your composure defensively. Ty English, who I love, he's a sophomore, lefty from Culver, two-way threat. Kind of loses his composure there on goal line extended. Stay with the two-hand cross check. Allow the other man to potentially take a shot as you funnel him to a severe angle. Okay, playing defense is not about shutting the guy down, creating turnovers. Many times, if you're a short stick midfielder, it's about playing the percentages, pushing him to a weak angle. And I thought English maybe kind of lost his cool there with the hold.
Owen Hiltz over to Leo. Syracuse clicking at close to 60% with the extra man. Spolina and Burt Whistle have 18 combined man-up goals this season. They both rank top 2 nationally. Inside, hard shot, Burt Whistle, save by Colin Krieg.
Krieg's best of the day.
I'm with you, Quinn. It's 4-3 Carolina. It feels it should be 9-3. Here's Krieg across midfield. Lost the ball. Able to recover. Oh. And now the chirping starts.
Krieg went rogue. Cuse comes in high and late. And now you see Carolina supporting their veteran goalie. Here, Krieg right now, he realizes he's cornered. So what? He's going to go for it. Doesn't make it through. But look, he hustles it back down, gets the grounder, and right there, Sam Alexo gets him high and late, and that's going to draw a crowd. Look at Barton come down from the defensive end.
Yeah, this might be a 2-minute non-releasable. One minute, and it will be a releasable penalty. That's a break for Syracuse. It was ruled a dead ball foul. And we've seen that. If it's above the neck and shoulders and it's deemed direct contact, Quint, that's automatic 2 minutes these days.
I didn't think it got Krieg to the neck or head, so I would have to agree with that call. And both teams showed good restraint after that in the skirmish, not to accelerate things past where they needed to be.
Carolina 44% on the extra man. McGovern with 4 EMO goals on the season. Here's Schwartz. Over to Gallagher.
Protect the inside. Don't allow skip passes for the defense.
Syracuse in tight. Gallagher gets it. Feeding the crease. And the quick stick denied. McGovern. No angle. It'll stay with Carolina.
Mark goes down. He's a flopper. And you're seeing Carolina try to beat him with some high bounce shots. That is, use the earth. You show that low location. The goalie goes down, and then the ball ricochets up to the top portions. Mark plays on a deep line. His heels are basically on the end line.
McGovern's pass for Dubner results in a turnover.
This has been an issue for the Orange, clearing.
DeJuan throws it to the far side. Up ahead to Rosa, met by Barton. He's ambushed.
The 10-man ride for Carolina is giving Syracuse all sorts of problems.
Another failed clear. Syracuse now below 50% clearing the ball.
It's amazing. You know, last week, UVA, get the ball to a guy like Evan Zinn or Grayson Soliday for the easy clear.
And McGovern finds the back of the net, his second of the game, and it's 5-3 UNC.
How demoralizing is that, Anish? You're playing good defense. DeJuan makes a beautiful crossfield pass. The head man up to the midi, all of a sudden he's double-teamed, and you can't clear it. So between face-off ineffectiveness and poor clearing, man, Syracuse is making it tough on themselves.
Three weeks from tomorrow's selection day in college lacrosse. Some key matchups today. Duke holding off Virginia. Duke's mastery of Virginia continues. You had Cornell holding off Army for a big one-goal game, and then a couple of big matchups in the Big Ten tomorrow. Penn State and Michigan. Maryland going to Rutgers, where the Scarlet Knights are so tough to beat.
Rutgers is a different team at home.
There's English. Trail check, well timed. And a whistle from behind. We got a timeout by North Carolina while they had possession.
So the two things you need to know if you're just picking up this game right now, Carolina has dominated the play here. Face-offs, what are they, 8-1 now, face-offs? And clearing Syracuse is only 5 of 10. It is miraculous that the Orange are only trailing 5-3.
Look at the shot disparity, 25-8 in favor of Carolina, yet the scoreboard says 5-3. Why?
Well, Cuse has played pretty good, settled 6-on-6 defense. They're not giving up easy goals in that regard. They're just making their job way too difficult. The clearing has got to be fixed. Strategically, I don't love their formation against the 10-man. They're running away from the ball. I think the middies have to come back and support the ball more. Got to find your midfielders and hope to beat a man in the open field, like a punt return clear. Joe Brescia's got to be happy with his Seals, the way they bounced back from that really disappointing loss last Friday night at Torrance in the pouring rain. They got run off the field by the Cavs. It was 16-4 at one point. He talked about them going to work this week. Ground balls. Like, that's all he talked about on our call with him. They did 1-on-1 ground balls, 2-on-1 ground balls, 3-on-2 ground balls. I said, how many wrists and thumbs did you have? He said, none. Because college coaches, you preach ground balls, but if you don't do them, your team becomes soft. Well, they did them this week in practice. Nobody got hurt, and this team's focused on making those gritty plays.
It's shown up today. Schertzinger plays it back. Walford. Egan has the backup. And Joe Brescia telling us they charted 22 50-50 ground balls in that Virginia game and said UVA got 18 of them. Stinging the right corner upstairs. It's Matten, his second of the game. 9 straight games with a point for the freshman who played his high school ball in the state at Gonzaga.
Yeah, he's got a big fan base here today. Gonzaga played or tried to play good counsel at 1 o'clock here at this field today. They were delayed by lightning. And so a lot of the Gonzaga players and families have remained in the audience. Matten's good. He's a top 20 recruit in my book. And he's just slow to emerge, learning the college game. He can be a quarterback type attackman behind the net. Strong right-handed tendencies. But what I like about him is he's got his eyes up, equal distribution in terms of the ability to pass or shoot.
His dad, Jim, was a baseball player at North Carolina. Spent some time in the Cincinnati Reds minor league system. Played actually with a couple of pretty quality pros in Adam Dunn and Austin Kearns.
I think James Matten's success this season, as he approaches, 20 points? It just, to me, it sheds a brighter light on Joey Spallina of Syracuse.
Speaking of Spallina, he misses the mark. Spallina's put together an incredible freshman season. He really has. Remember, he went 1 for 15 in his first game, and everybody was saying it's the hype, and let's pump the brakes. The next 2 games, he scored 5 goals apiece.
I mean, think about his peers. Truett Sunderland at Virginia, fighting and scrapping to get in the starting lineup. James Matten, flirting with maybe getting 20 points on the season. Across the country, Spallina fits in like he's a 5th-year senior.
He does.
It's crazy.
Plays like one, too. Big shot saved by Mark. Carolina with their rope unit. Barton, who's a defender, has got 4 goals. They can score in a lot of ways outside of settled sets.
That's where Carolina is their best. Scoring off of faceoffs and scoring off their ride.
7 saves now for Mark. He had 17 in the first meeting against UNC. Luke Roa, another freshman, part of the #1 recruiting class in the country. Now Kirst using that big frame down the alley for his second. And that ends a long goal drought for the Orange. It's their first tally of quarter number 2.
He got popped after the shot, and I'm not sure he's okay. Kirst is going to come off here. This was a little high and late. I'm surprised it wasn't a call. Cole Kirst, the grad transfer from Lehigh. Watch him after he shoots. Boom. And that stings him a bit. Unassisted. That's been his calling card. Physical, downhill, body dodger at over 210 pounds.
One of 5 brothers, Connor and Colin, both played their final seasons at Rutgers. CJ at Cornell is one of the top Tewaaraton candidates this year. Caden in high school, and for Mom Michelle, travels a little easier this year. One son playing at Cornell, one at Syracuse, only an hour apart. Bodies flying, no flag. They'll let him play.
Caden, the youngest high school goalie, a verbal to Rutgers. Makes sense. Seems like the younger children often, as I know, become the goalie. You want to play with your older brothers, get in goal. Oh, you can't do that either.
That's going to be.
You can't do that either.
That might be ejections.
Don't lose your cool here for Syracuse, because you're going to go up 2 men.
A lot of flags down. It has been chippy. It started with the hit on Colin Krieg. Rosa's helmet came off. He puts it back on. And the officials will have to clean up the carnage. The officials have to take hold of this game right now.
Okay, that's a hold by Barton, but you can't hit a man while he's down on the ground. You need to know the rules if you're North Carolina. While that man is down on the ground or even has a knee on the ground, he's off limits. You cannot plow into him. That's a holding violation by 24 and White Barton. And then I'm not sure what Cooper Frankenheimer was thinking. That player, when he's down on the ground, is off limits to body contact.
Now the officials are going to sort through this. Now, Quint, what is Joe Bresci and Gary Gate telling the respective sidelines? We'll get your thought after the call.
In the play, both against Carolina. White. White 19, a hold, 30 seconds. After the play is over, illegal body check by players on the ground, number 23. That's going to be a 1-minute foul.
You're hearing the boos, and there's some merit to that. You thought it might have been more severe.
I thought they got it right. Going to be 2 men down here now, and you'll see Carolina's defense set up in a box formation that is a square.
Q, you may have just invited Syracuse to get back in this game.
Yeah.
This lethal man up.
And depending on the formation, they'll change it from a box to a diamond. You'll see the 4 players. Now, they're going to give up the outside shot at Krieg's direction. One thing the Syracuse team does not have much of are outside cannons. They'll pack it in tight, give up the shot from 10 or 12.
Finn Thompson. Schwartz got a stick on it. Now Spallina probing from the wing over to Hiltz, feeding inside. What a pass. Hiltz finding Burt Whistle at 6'5". It is the 9th extra man goal of the season for Jackson Burt Whistle.
This is pretty good. And this is what you can't happen if you're North Carolina. So you've talked about this, you've practiced it during the week. Hey, if we go 2 men down, I want the shot coming from where is what the defensive coordinator should ask the goalie in practice. And you have to crash the middle. That's just lazy defense by Carolina. See, they're in their box. They kind of all share that interior man, but when 43 vacates him, someone else needs to inherit that. You cannot leave a man open in the middle of the formation. Cuse converts. Their extra man is as good as I've seen across the landscape this year.
Fine took a bump from Marr. He goes down. Marr picks up the ground ball. Another face-off to Carolina. Quickly the other way. Here's Tyre. He's got 12 goals. Tyre being trail checked and fires wide. Carolina's missed the cage an awful lot today.
Will Mark's a big goalie. You get the sense how big he is in person pregame when you're down on the field and you see him warming up, and his head clearly eclipses the top of the goal. A lot of times we'll see 6'3", 6'2", and guys don't even reach the pipe. Well, Mark is big.
13 of Carolina's 29 shots on goal. DeMarco now.
One thing is, you watch this game, watch how deep he sits in the goal. His heels are on the goal line. Gets him a little extra time to react with his hands.
Egan fighting through the contact. It's kicked back. Picked up by Welford. Welford coming off 4 straight multi-point games. Graduate transfer from Bucknell against Aviles, who lost his footing. Welford, left hand, goes upstairs.
Wow, Welford left-handed. Are you kidding me? Super crowd here at Good Counsel in Olney, Maryland, and Welford mixes it up. This guy's got right-handed rip written all across him, but he rolls back for the left. He's got to look at it, and he bings that one near post. Great shot to the off-stick side.
We say grow the game. Welford is from St. Louis, Missouri, spent a postgraduate year at Avon Old Farms up in Connecticut, goes to Bucknell, two-time All-Conference and All-American 2 years ago, and a team captain last year.
It's a virtual Lewis and Clark going from St. Louis. Lindenwood, our D1 friends now in Missouri, the first D1 program. Lindenwood is off Route 70, I believe, outside of St. Louis.
Timeout, Gary Gate. 2:11 to go. Shippey, first half. North Carolina leads it 7-5 in Ishroth, Quint Kesnick. And Q, the stakes today for Carolina. This is a game you can't lose.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it to stay alive. You're staying in the bubble conversation. Your upcoming games give you an opportunity to get another chip of value. And if you lose those games, it's not the end of the world. I think they're going to be in the bubble, even with losses coming up.
And for Syracuse, they don't have a win on their resume right now that will resonate with the selection committee. If they beat North Carolina, that is a top 10 win. They finish with Virginia and Duke, 2 more opportunities. It is a Herculean task. However, there is still a chance for Syracuse to play themselves into the conversation that the committee will have 3 weeks from tomorrow.
And to me, that's a storyline across the country, Anish, you know, with what 3 weeks remaining to the selection show. If you win this week, if you won today, you remain in the discussion, because we've got 9 leagues that give out automatic qualifiers, AQs. The goal is to get to the league tournament. The goal, you have to win the league tournament to get in. For these teams, there's no AQ in the ACC. So just keep winning, and you're going to be in a good spot. And that's, I think, the chore for Carolina. If you're Syracuse, the one issue you got, you're 7-5. You go 0-3 the rest of the way, you're going to finish less than 500. And Gary Gate's second year, I'm not sure how much progress that truly shows.
To me, this is still a young team. In a lot of ways, it is year one.
Yes, it doesn't it feel like year one?
It does. There wasn't a whole lot coming back last year. And the theme around the program last year is, hey, the cavalry's coming in 2023. Well, you see guys like that, Spolina, you see Finn Thompson, Owen Hiltz redshirted last year.
7 out of the 9 offensive pieces will come back. They need to get a transfer Fogo. Riley Figueres, their best defender, who will be back. You think they got to upgrade defense and defensive midfield? Yes. There's no reason to believe that Syracuse won't be a top 12 team when the season starts next year, if Gary can make some hay in the transfer portal.
Quint, I look at Syracuse a year from now, depending on what they do in the portal. And they've got another strong recruiting class coming in. You're also now getting into an area where the COVID years are starting to go away. It's harder now to be a young team when so many other teams have 5th and 6th year guys. That one's picked off by Kakemo.
Nice play, good handle by Kakemo, the way he circles back to help. This has been the biggest issue for Cuse, clearing. This is the best clear of the day.
Alexo plays it back to Kirst.
We spoke to Dave Petramala pregame, and he'll admit, having Riley Figueres come back next year is critical. In the ACC, in my eyes, you need a #1 cover guy. You're dealing with Brennan O'Neill, Connor Schellenberger, and the Kavanaughs next year. Okay?
They're also all back, too. That's right.
So if you don't have a guy that can handle those guys, you're not going to win games in the ACC.
You know, and you look at what those teams have defensively. Notre Dame has Chris Fake. Duke has Kenny Brower, Wilson Stevenson, Tyler Carpenter. You know, Virginia's got Sawstead, Cole Kastner. Here's Leo. 5 on the game clock. Kirst ran into a double. 2 seconds. Shot saved Krieg. And that takes us to halftime. 4th save of the first half by Colin Krieg. We had some fireworks on the field. We had some fireworks with shooting display. 7-5. Carolina leading Syracuse after 30 minutes.
Can't be happy if you're Carolina. You should be dominating this game. You're only up 7-5.
That's a nice silhouette of you, Quinn, that we had. Clears.
You know, and I wore this throwback blazer today that I was proud of after last week's green jacket I got to wear.
Well, Q, you look at the failed clears by Syracuse. You know, Carolina's got a couple of easy ones off of that, and that's the difference in the game.
They got 2 goals directly off of failed clears. Okay, so failed clears can hurt in different ways. Obviously, you ask your defense to play more, but Carolina scored twice directly off turnovers, and that's, as you said, the difference in the game.
North Carolina with a top 10 RPI, looking to hold serve against Syracuse. The Orange looking for their biggest win of the season. Second half coming up. Ready to start the third quarter. North Carolina has won 13 out of 17, make it 14 out of 18 at the face-off circle. Here comes Tyre. Out of bounds to McGovern, skips it toward the middle. Flag is down.
Offsides, 30 seconds.
Offsides against Carter Rice. So North Carolina will start this third quarter 14 seconds in with the extra man.
Opportunity knocks McGovern. Catalyst behind the net. Little number 1 in the white jersey. Lefty, super quick. He's had a great season transferring over from Bryant.
Gallagher over to Schwartz, back after missing Friday's game. McGovern turns it over.
Great check by Kakemo, 28 in Blues. Played a strong game.
Rosa got out of trouble, lost the ball after the stick check from Barton. Looking for help, he's got Spallina.
It's a nice front swing by Spallina. The other attackmen are just sitting down low by the goal. Rosa's struggling up by the midfield line. He needs help. Don't run away from your teammate. Go help him out.
Here comes Cole Kirst, using the pick from Simmons. It comes back to X. Spallina matched up with Egan, who's done a nice job on the freshman so far. And he checks it away. Marr off the ground for Carolina. Ball still loose.
Marr doing a good job with his feet, keeping the ball going in his direction.
Near the end line, knocked out of bounds.
It's off White.
And it's off of North Carolina.
That's a high-level ground ball play. Multiple guys in the pack trying to steer the ball in your direction, hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder.
Kirst now picked up by the short stick Marr, one of the top shorties in the ACC.
Kirst is going to try to run through you. He's going to try to get to a spot using his body.
Here comes Leo. Gets to the right hand. That shot deflected before it got to the cage. Simmons able to scoop it up. 43 to shoot. Skip pass. Hiltz. Finn Thompson. Backhanded shovel off the crossbar. It'll stay with Syracuse. The creativity of Spallina, of Hiltz, of Finn Thompson. When this offense clicks, boy, is it fun to watch.
I love this guy Thompson. I had him on my podcast this week, Lax All-Stars. Freshman from the west side of Toronto. Loves to dance. Likes to listen to country music. And it becomes an issue in the locker room because there's a bunch of guys that don't like country music. And back in my day, it was more like the Dead. We had a group of guys on our team that wanted to listen to the Grateful Dead pregame. And then the majority of the team said, no Dead on game days.
Oh, come on. Kirst going low. Keep on trucking.
I said it earlier. If Syracuse can clear and if they can win some face-offs or at least keep those departments relatively equal, they will win this game. Their offense is more efficient than North Carolina's. Multiple shot possession. Good pressure from Hiltz from the corner. He draws the double team. Beats his man initially, draws the slide, and finds Kirst to the far side. You see the three-quarter arm level changer by the veteran Cole Kirst.
Owen Hiltz now with 3 assists. Hiltz had 3 helpers in the first meeting against Carolina. 5 points that day. Carolina won 19-13. Fine pops that one in the air. Toward the sideline, out of bounds. We get a loose ball push on North Carolina, so Syracuse ball. Time of possession, shots, the overall possession battle, heavily skewed in Carolina's favor, yet Syracuse could tie the game with a goal.
Syracuse is battling. They've battled all season long. If you watch their games this year, there's typically a 10-minute portion in every game that for whatever reason the train fell off the tracks.
Kirst.
And usually it starts with face-offs and then spirals out of control with their inexperienced defense. You look at the Notre Dame game. It was basically an even game after 50 minutes.
Spallina against Egan. Spallina turns, shot, saved Krieg. It comes to Ty English.
Nice save by Krieg. Spallina tried to do the misdirection, looking low, shooting high.
Frankenheimer, stick checked away from behind by Roa. Dug out by the Cuse. Billy DeWan. Will Mark ducks under the defender.
Nice job by both DeWan and Mark to change fields on the clear. Great look.
Hiltz over to Kirst, and Syracuse beats the ride. Wasn't your true 10-man. North Carolina back defensively.
I can guarantee that Gary Gate and Dave Petramala at halftime on the chalkboard just went over the fundamentals of the clear. Hidden ball trick. You buying it, Anish?
No, it wasn't a hidden ball trick. You had a guy running off the field. Who are you fooling? Kirst against Paul Barton. Kirst down the alley. Spallina off the ground.
Spallina typically doesn't beat you off the dribble, but he's got every gimmick and gadget shot in the book.
Spallina to Simmons, and the backup to Leo.
He picks his spots pretty good.
Leo and Spallina, club teammates growing up. Leo turns, shoots, misses the cage by a mile.
One thing this Orange offense doesn't have, guys who can blow by you off the dodge. It'll get better. Leo's got a future there. Luke Rowe's got a future there. But this is more skill than speed.
Spallina snakes inside, snuffed out, and he was in the crease. Carolina ball.
Nice closeout by Carolina. Cuse had success with the two-man game behind the goal, gave Spallina the window of opportunity, but a gutsy defensive check.
DeMarco able to clear.
It's an easy punt return, isn't it, Anish? Makes it look so easy. Swerving through traffic.
Ryan Switzer out there.
Like you on the Beltway trying to catch a flight.
My flight's canceled. I got time to party afterwards. Harry Welford now working on Carter Rice. Picked up on the switch by Kakemo. Schertzinger scored the first goal of the game, gives it up. Transition opportunity for the Cuse. They can tie it here. Spallina over to the wing. Hiltz has 3 helpers. 15 turnovers now for North Carolina.
Nicely done there. Orange play fast, but there weren't, considering they've played so much defense in this game, they're not about to.
No flag. Cook, bounce shot, bird whistle, and Syracuse pulls to even the Orange on a 4-1 run.
Gary likes what they see. You think about halftime adjustments, tweak something in the face-off game that's had success, and they've cleared the ball efficiently. And we've been saying all game, this offense in the settled set's been good. This is off a sub. It's kind of a late sub by Carolina. Marr caught trailing Jackson Birtwistle.
24th goal of the season for Birtwistle, his second today. He came on late at the end of last year.
He's got an interesting stat line. It's kind of like Paul Clark. Look how many assists he has, Anish.
0 for his career. But he's a goal scorer. He's got 38 career goals.
Excellent on the extra man from mid-range. That's good coaching by Cuse at halftime to fix the clearing deficiency.
Now Krieg across midfield. Offsides.
Empty net.
It'll go back to Syracuse. Krieg hustling back into the cage, and Rosa didn't pick that ball up clean. No quick restart. Now Krieg likes to venture into adventurous territory. Carolina still without a shot in this third quarter. We're almost halfway through. Leo inverts. Inside roll. Leo gives Syracuse the lead.
A terrific third quarter for Otto. 3 straight goals. Kirst, Birtwistle, and now Leo gets underneath, dives across the tangent. Orange in business.
Anish Shroff, Quint Kesnick, our ACC Players of the Week. Pat Cavanaugh and Joey Spallina shared the honors on the offensive side. Chris Bake was superb defending Brennan O'Neill in Notre Dame's win against Duke. Irish off this week, the #1 team in the country. That #1 ranking in the polls has rotated through the ACC. Virginia's had it most of the season. Notre Dame's now had 2 turns. Duke has had a turn as well. Here's Tyre, Barton, and Syracuse will live with that. You're going to win a face-off, you got to play it back.
You mentioned Notre Dame, a real odd time for a bye week. Notre Dame plays Carolina next week on April 22nd.
Then plays them again.
Plays Virginia in between, and then plays them the last weekend of the season in this ACC uneven schedule. But with the bye week, I reached out to Ryan Wellner, assistant at Notre Dame, and they've done a lot of work this week with their 2s and 3s, developing that lower third of your roster, getting those guys time in practice, and they've relied on their catapult, their GPS system, to monitor. How much running do you need, Anish? Is it a lot or is it a little? Are you a senior with a lot of wear on your tires? Well, then we're going to hold it down. And having a GPS in a week like this, your bye week, really comes in handy when trying to read effective training levels.
Especially as the weather starts to heat up. Welford.
And that becomes a story in itself. You can't be wearing turtlenecks, mock turtles, to games when the temperature's going to hit 80 degrees.
Yeah, I'll own that one. I'll own that one. I looked at the weather forecast. I thought I didn't have to pack a blazer. It was going to rain. It didn't rain. Heat from Schertzinger, and Carolina ties it at 8. Second goal of the day for Henry Schertzinger.
A feet set. He makes the shot sing. Carolina getting acclimated to the heat. They've had about 2 or 3 weeks of real hot temperatures down there where the athlete, you got to drink water, stay away from junk food like fries.
Or the barbecue chips you were munching on in the last break.
Eat a lot of foods from the earth. And Schertzinger does not use the earth on that one. The grad student out of Cincinnati rips it left-handed high. He's a great athlete. You know, it'll be interesting to see if Schertzinger can find a way in the PLL, Premier Lacrosse League.
Two-way guy?
As a two-way guy, yeah. As a two-way guy.
Tyre punches it ahead. Big ground ball now, 50-50. A lot of white shirts. Flag down as Murphy emerges from the clouded wrath. Delayed penalty against Carolina. Cook against Frankenheimer. Spolina without a goal today, does have an assist. He's coming off a 9-point game in the midst of one of the best freshman seasons in school history. It stays with Syracuse, did not go over and back. Kirst coming down the alley. Back of the net, a hat trick for Kirst, and it's 9-8 Cuse.
That subtle play at the midline. And I think it was McGovern who got boxed out. He needs to drive his defender away from that loose ball, and the whistle blows, and Orange go on an extra man. But instead, the play continues, and Kirsch just runs right down the hash. Look at the football hash lines. It's a great guide for young players. He's had a strong afternoon, Cole Kirst. Team's back to even strength, though, Anish. Penalty gets wiped off.
Back-to-back hat tricks now for Kirst. He had 3 against Princeton, and there's the play. Owen Hiltz. Stalemate between Fine and Tyre.
Withholding by Fine. He had his stick clamped on the ball. And the words in the rule book are immediate. Immediate. You've got to get that ball out immediately.
Carolina only has 2 shots in the third quarter, and we've got less than 5 minutes to go. Gallagher over to McGovern, trying to lose Dwan. Draws the slide, pass back to Gallagher, able to recover. Yeah, they've been back and forth pretty much all afternoon. It's 9-8 Syracuse with a 1-goal lead. Dewey Egan now. Big 6'4" sophomore out of San Diego. Site of the World Games this year. 15 to shoot. McGovern skips to the middle. Shot, score! Trevor Dubner, the junior, getting some run on that second midfield today with P.J. Zinzer out. And we're tied again at 9.
Sharp team offense. Watch him sit down. They just create just enough spacing. The wing dodge has the defense slough in too much. I was talking about this exact scenario with Dave Petramala pregame. You get your house there defensively. That's the D structure. And think about football, Anish. If you're a linebacker dropping in coverage and you're in zone, let's say, you don't just drop and cover grass. You drop to your area and cover the man who comes closest to you or covers in your area. That's the same concept in lacrosse there. You're in your house formation, your zone, but you got to actually cover the guy.
Fine looked to have won the faceoff. He just couldn't pick up the ball. Now Tyre's got it. Tyre all the way! Goal number 13. He's not a Fogo. He faces off, he stays on, and he's North Carolina's highest scoring midfielder. 7 straight games with a goal.
His shooting percentage is off the charts as well. Basically a 50% shooter on the season, who in the last 6 games have scored 12 goals. Every time he shoots, it looks as if he has no idea where it's going, and it goes exactly where he wants it to, in the fashion that he wants it to. He's a tough read. I'm just going to say it that way, Anish.
So as a goalie, does that give you a little pause?
Absolutely scary. It's that pitcher who has no control, who's either throwing it over your head or right down the pike. You have no idea where Tyre's shooting it. He doesn't have a body language that gives you cues.
A lot of sticks flying, and finally, it's McGovern. McGovern, goal line extended, skips it to the wing. A chance here, shot, score! Ty English. He was pegged as a breakout candidate this year. Part of that defensive midfield, he's now scored in 4 straight. And this is where Carolina can hurt you. Guys like Tyre, guys like English, they can get scoring from outside of the traditional 6-on-6.
Right off the face-off, it's down the side to the point. Rotate the ball counterclockwise. And English bags that one from mid-range. Anish, you did the research this week, and you looked at those numbers. They're significant. Remember Maryland last year, between their poles, their Fogo, and their shorties had almost 30 goals. So what's Carolina's total right now?
25 coming into today.
It's big. That's a lot.
There's Matt Wright. He can score.
So that's that extra midfield. You often talk about where are you going to get extra scoring? Well, if our defensive personnel, our Fogo and our wingmen can be offensive players, it's effectively like having a third midfield. And we saw it last year with Maryland. Bubba Fairman.
And Maryland also had Wisnauskas and Donville.
No, but they scored a remarkable amount of fast break and trailer break goals last season.
Maryland was not fair last season. One of the best teams we've seen. And then they got a hot goalie at the end, which made it even more unfair. Egan bouncer. So Syracuse took the lead at 9-8. Carolina responded with 3 goals in the span of 40 seconds. 2 of them off a face-off win. Tyre and then English. Matten, there's a step-down opportunity. Harrison Schertzinger. He and Henry twins.
It's good rebound control by Caden Cole.
Kirst, ambushed. Dumps it back off to Finn Thompson. Rosa, all the way. Nobody picked him up. He missed the cage, and he had Spallina open in that goal line extended area. Egan has done a nice job on Spallina. That's Evan Egan, older brother of Dewey. Carolina's got 5 sets of brothers. Leo, and that one does not get past Krieg, able to corral it. Geppert, the Brown transfer to set up the clear. Quint 31, Mars another guy, part of that rope unit. He's got 7 career goals, 3 this season.
It's a nice clear. Geppert and Krieg, the way they worked the ball, they were patient with it, but they kept moving it forward, and as Syracuse substituted, a player on the far side was open.
Henry Schertzinger, he's got range and some shake. Dewey Egan. McGovern pulls it back. Great feed. Welford shot. Big save by Mark.
Best save of the day with a minute to go here in this quarter.
2-time NEC Defensive Player of the Year at LIU.
Yeah, Mark's an interesting story. Danville, California. Ends up coming east to play at the Salisbury School. Goalie for LIU. Transfers to the Orange, Syracuse.
Started playing lacrosse while his dad was stationed in Germany, working for a tech company, and Griffin Cook, with his second goal, brings Syracuse back to within 1.
I think Griffin Cook understands that this Tar Heel defense is sleeping on him, not giving him any kind of respect in terms of matchups or double teams. Cook, a former attackman, takes his man top side. Exclamation point dodge where he just keeps running full speed up the field. Shoots that to the far post. He's having a strong day today. Griffin Cook, who's been a mainstay in this lineup for 4 years. Jamesville DeWitt, one of the classic Central New York high school programs. You scour this Syracuse roster, there's just not as many West Jennies and Jamesville DeWitts and Homers that you used to see.
Tully's, Carthage. had the Powells were from Carthage, the Hardys from Tully.
I think the socioeconomics of lacrosse, unfortunately, have changed, and that has hurt the Syracuse program.
Unsettled, McGovern. Save, Mark! Denying Matten. He's so... Oh, man, he stole a goal at the end of the third quarter. Will Mark.
He baited that all day long. Matten will learn. When it looks too good to be true, it is. Will Mark dips down low, drops his hands, and gives Matten the far top corner, and then explodes at the last second. Young man, I can play this game. Will Mark.
The Inside Lacrosse media poll for Week 9. Notre Dame sitting at number 1, Virginia 2, Duke 3. ACC has rotated that number 1 ranking amongst the current top 3. Notre Dame off this week. Duke beat Virginia today. Maryland at 4. And what's interesting about the ACC, with only 5 teams in the league, no automatic qualifier, so every selection from the conference eats up an at-large bid. Right now, you've got 3 locks. Carolina probably in. A lot of lacrosse left. They have opportunities with 2 games against Notre Dame. But this is a game for Carolina. If you win, it doesn't really help you. A loss, it comes to a team that's not in the RPI top 20. A loss does hurt you.
Carolina needs this game big time. Syracuse has nothing on their resume. This would be really their first plus of the season, and they have difficult games ahead, which could actually help them. It's a window of opportunity if you're a Syracuse fan.
The double team works on Simmons. And we get a loose ball hold on North Carolina. It stays with the orange. Shot clock resets to 60.
You know, and he's looking at that poll. I think the major storyline today is Cornell's win over Army. And Army's resume is super light. I mean, it's diet. They're going to be bumped out outside of the top 10. How far do they even fall? And then you look at their at-large resume, and it's really insufficient. It's not very good. So that opens a window for Big East, Big Ten, or more ACC.
Potentially a second Ivy?
Potentially. The games, to me, that are most riveting today were in the Ivy League and are in the Big Ten, aside from this game.
The Big Ten from top to bottom. I mean, the separation has gone down. Maryland has come back to the pack. We've seen Hopkins reemerge. Penn State, after a couple of down years, seems to be back. Michigan's having its best season. They've got their best team in program history.
Tomorrow you got Michigan, Penn State, Maryland at Rutgers.
Ohio State is a team that beat Carolina all the way to the goal in the crease, and they might wave this off. They will. There is a flag down.
Peter Buchanan talking it over with Steve Ruppel. So no goal here. It's going to be an extra man opportunity for Syracuse.
But no goal. Toughest call for the officials to make it.
Giving Syracuse an extra man is when you stop flirting with danger and invite danger up for coffee.
Push on Ebony. The nice
Simmons comes out of the pile. Contact is made with the goalie. He's clearly in that cylinder, but he was pushed.
One of the top man-up units in the country. Finn Thompson now to Leo. They can spin it.
Thompson's got to do more today. He's too talented. He's got to play a bigger role.
There he is. Got a good look. It hits the crossbar. Hiltz will retrieve. Hiltz has 3 assists. Step down opportunity, and we're tied. It's Simmons, 11 up with 12:51 to go in regulation.
Simmons goes sniping from the outside. This goal was made by Hiltz, and his vision to skip that ball through the defense. There's only so much you can do. You see Thompson getting in the face of Krieg after that goal. That never went over well. Simmons has had a strong season, the grad transfer from Denver. It's amazing. Gary Gates got, what you said, 3 Canadians on that extra man in each, but they're all great passers.
Great passers.
Like you pointed out this week, for years, for decades, Canadians are known for what?
Scoring.
Goal scoring.
Stick work.
Well, they cornered the market on passing Canadians. It's interesting talking to Thompson. He'll play in the OJLL. It's the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League all summer. Well, he'll log more than 20 games. That's prior to the Minto Cup, the playoffs. So you think about the Canadian advantages during the summer. While he's in college, he's playing 20 lacrosse games, let alone practices and postseason games. Yeah, wear and tear, I get it. But you wonder why these guys have such great dexterity, such great feel, such amazing hand-eye coordination. Simple. More time with the ball in their stick.
Work well in tight spaces. Cook. And a turnover looking for Spolina. 12 minutes to go, fourth quarter. Tied up at 11. North Carolina's best win to date. It's a good one. Johns Hopkins. Losses to Ohio State, Denver, Duke, and Virginia. None of those qualify as bad losses. And they finished with 2 games against Notre Dame with a week off in between as we get a flag coming against Syracuse. This UNC team just 2 years removed from being the #1 seed and getting to championship weekend.
Syracuse hasn't been to the NCAA tournament since 2021. Blowout loss against Georgetown in the first round.
Yeah, that was John Desko's final game as head coach.
Haven't been to the quarter since 2017.
Lost to Towson.
Haven't been to the semis since 2013 when they lost in the national championship game.
Last title, 2009, and again, for a program of that ilk, you know, those droughts are exaggerated even further and talked about more.
It was a slow decline from championship weekend to quarterfinals to first round to not in the NCAA tournament for a program that's won 11 championships, and they made, what, the Final Four every year from, what, 83 to 205?
Quint, it's been 6 years since they won an NCAA tournament game.
2017.
They used to be able to, as you said, take the team picture championship weekend for half a generation.
7-6 in 2021. 4-10 Gary's first year. 7-5 now with 3 remaining.
Carolina with a chance to take the lead on the man up. But Governor Schwartz can't connect.
Now that's huge. That is huge. You just got to tighten up your fundamentals. Fatigue makes cowards of us all, and when you get tired late in a game like this, you tend to get sloppy.
17 turnovers for UNC.
This is dangerous now. Empty net here.
Carter Rice.
Nicely done by Rice. He really bought himself some time in each by running away, running the space. He didn't panic. Thompson gave him a big flash of a stick as if to say, here I am.
Spolina has his man hung.
Even Thompson's down there looking at the ref.
Krieg stays put in the cage. Spolina standing still. Shot clock continues to run.
He's going to put this ball right on the money.
Spolina statuesque.
Thompson.
Now he makes his move. Good defense by Egan, who's done a nice job on Spolina. Not that time. Spolina gets free, his first goal of the game. And the 5-star freshman gives Syracuse a 1-goal lead with 9.5 to go.
That was clutch. Spolina's been a little snake bit around the crease. But we talked about his IQ. He's going to improve over the course of the game. He's going to read the defender. Body wins the body game. It's about creating contact, bouncing off, and then using that space that's created. It's the push-pull, so to speak. You create contact, there's some separation, and he ducks underneath.
That's a moment that this program has not had a whole lot in the last decade. Late in the game, you need some magic. Back in the day, Quint, you know what it used to be. Give it to number 22.
And that number 22 varied from decade to decade. This program's always had star power.
22, though, has been face of the sport level star power.
Yeah, you know, and Joey doesn't necessarily have that same skill set, but we saw it on that last play, and I cannot emphasize the brain part of his performance this season. He's really, really smart, okay? He's working every play and trying to get better, and I think we saw that because he's been foiled pretty good around the crease, hasn't he, so far in this game?
Evan Egan's been terrific for the most part.
Until the critical moment.
Now can Carolina find an answer? Welford. I don't know if Mark saw it. Sun sort of moving out. You got guys now looking into the sun a little bit.
Setting over our left shoulder.
Matten's got a short stick. The freshman's got a couple of goals today. Looking to shake Murphy. Freshman against freshman. Matt shoots, save Mark. And it comes to Cole.
Mark's been strong in the second half.
And so has Syracuse in the clearing game.
Much, much better. It's been a huge differential.
Oh, how about the play by Welford? Stole that out of the air like a defensive back. Unsettled. Tillman. McCover. We're tied. You give Carolina an opening in transition, they will take your lunch money.
You hit him with the announcer jinx. How about that Syracuse clearing? It's great. Turnover, goal, Carolina.
Tied at a dozen, 8:07 to go in regulation.
Will Bowen of Georgetown. And there's a lot of question marks to eligibility. Like Sam Handley can enter the transfer portal and play another year lacrosse if he so determines that that's in his best interest. He has that year. I had a conversation with him a couple weeks ago. He's an entrepreneur. He's making a healthy bar, like a bar. And so he may go out and do that professionally, or he may go to grad school and try to market. So there's a lot of questions, and I know Clark, the hardest thing he's had to deal with is who's coming back and who's an actual senior with the COVID years. Like, I think Levi Anderson is going back to St. Joe's next year, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, we still have another year in that cycle.
The draft will be May 9, I believe. It's a Tuesday night. Cotter, Boyle, Kark.
Tillman, nice move. Shoots and misses. That's why they call him Dance Tillman. He played for the great John Grant Jr. in high school, and that's where he learned what he calls the teeter-totter. Look high, go low.
They play Rocky Mountain High when he scores at home games at Dorrance. Cotter was getting choked up last week when he scored. He loves that song.
Big John Denver guy, huh? Get him out to a West Virginia football game.
Oh, I love that. Love that.
I noticed one thing, Carolina.
So here we go. We got a tie game with 7 minutes to go. Kind of what we thought. Felt Cuse had a chance in this game because they've been trending in the right direction. I didn't like what I saw for Carolina last week in their loss to Virginia. A lot at stake right here. You win, you stay alive. Pretty simple.
Spolino, 22. Bringing the magic in the fourth quarter. 2 straight for Joey Spolino. And Syracuse back on top.
The ability to process, to read scenarios. Egan just gives him too much real estate. He gets to the hash mark, the dotted white line there, and realizes that's well within his range. Rips it past Krieg. 2 critical goals by Joey Spolino, both unassisted here in this fourth quarter.
Quint, from an expectation standpoint, Syracuse is where it's supposed to be. Nobody expected this to be an NCAA tournament team. Not this year, not with so much youth. Here's Aviles all the way, and the orange bench explodes. You're watching a young team grow in the final stages of a season. You're watching a young team loaded with freshman talent start to tap into its potential. whether it happens this year or it's a springboard to next year, there is some excitement back in Central New York with this lacrosse program. The Orange have a 2-goal lead with 6:17 to go.
Man, he accelerated out of that face-off scrum. Carolina player lost his edge down on the ground. Next thing you know, Aviles bursts out of there. Carolina chooses not to respect him. He goes sidearm and makes him pay.
Now Tyre. Does he have the answer? McGovern missed the cage.
That's what McGovern needed. Got to work his angle towards the middle of the field. Plant with his right foot and press towards the top of the crease.
Carolina only putting about 50% of its shots on cage today.
Will Mark can get in people's heads. He's a big goalie, wide stance, takes up a lot of net. He's been talked about. You see him on tape all week, and you tend to shoot fine for corners.
And in the first meeting between these two, both coaches agreed Carolina had its best shooting game of the season. They were stinging corners.
They were ripping corners, Anish. Our man Booker Corrigan would say they logged on to istingcorners.com.
Tillman has 4 assists. He'll initiate from up top. Kakemo came to help. Now it's McGovern. Over to Harrison Schertzinger. 15 to shoot. Gallagher, right hand free, and it's off the stick and in.
Grad transfer from Gettysburg. It's a right-handed sweep and a jump shot. Mark is leaning to his left, and he goes down to that knee instead of stepping towards the ball. For as amazing a season as Will Mark has had at 58% with the most saves nationally, there are some visual flaws if you're like a textbook goaltender.
Rich Usa, who lost his starting job a few weeks ago, wins the faceoff for Syracuse. He's 3 out of 9. Tyre has taken the majority of the draws for North Carolina. Timeout, Gary Gate. 4:50 to go in regulation. Syracuse with a 1-goal game. We're playing at Our Lady of Good Counsel High School in Olney, Maryland. And Quint, the rationale.
Like tonight, what games are on? I can't hear you. What games are on tonight, Anish?
We've seen all
None.
the best games
Like
today.
at noon, there was like 7 killer games on top of each other. What are we doing? It's a beautiful day. Great crowd at Army, great crowd at Hopkins, sick crowd here, amazing crowd down at Duke.
What do these last 4.5 minutes come down to?
Well, obviously, Cuse is nursing this lead, and he wanted to give his defense some rest. I think Cuse has got to go through Spallina as a distributor, or Hiltz, 77. It's going to be hard for them to beat him off the dribble. Kirst is the guy with the pick.
Finn Thompson from the wing. Plays it back to Kirst. Now Spallina. He scored the last 2, or rather 2 of the last 3 for Syracuse. Got under Egan, 20 to shoot. Spallina circles back. Wing dodge. Nothing on that.
Clock's not their friend right now.
Spallina's got the short stick Marr. Shot clock into single digits. Spallina, bodied by Marr. Turns, fires, side of the net. Krieg digs it out.
Hit the skirt, good defense.
Three and a half to go. None of Carolina's wins this season have been especially close. Beat Mercer by 22, Hopkins by 4, Cuse by 6, Brown by 13, Dartmouth by 18, High Point by 7, Providence by 17. Schertzinger to Welford. To Marco. Carolina patiently probing this defense. Matten has Alexo on him, Syracuse's top cover guy. Egan now against the short stick Rice. Gets to the left hand and scores. Dewey Egan gets top side, tied with 2:43.
Big and physical, is an inside lacrosse top 10 recruit. Likes the matchup, but just takes that extra step to greatness. Freight train rolling uphill. Cuse didn't send the double team. Dewey Egan made some pay, ties this baby up. I don't think that's Dewey's headshot. We had the same issue last week. That looks more like Dominic Petromalo, who we talked to, who we spoke with pregame. I saw that last week also, and I forgot to say something about it.
Big face-off. Tyre wins it for Carolina, and he is a threat. Scored today. He scored in 7 straight. Dumps it back to English, who has a goal. Timeout, Joe Bresci. 2:31 to go in regulation. Carolina with the ball, all tied at 14. For a UNC team that right now is bubble-bound, probably in. This would be a bad loss if they don't pull it out.
Going to get the green light to go here to try to draw the double team.
Schertzinger's got a couple of goals.
Off a long dodge.
4 of his 8 goals this season have come against the Cuse. Down the alley, Schertzinger spins it to Egan. Now Welford.
Wants his right.
He did score 1 with his left today. McGovern had 8 points in the first meeting against Syracuse. He's got the short stick. There's the slide. DeMarco from up top to the wing. Welford. That was too easy for Mark, who makes the save. Less than 2 minutes to go.
Not a good shot. You could tell by Dave Metzbauer's reaction where he just took his hat off and ran his hands through his hair. Got a little impatient there. Gary Gate talking to Pat March right now. Talking timeout. When do you want it? Do you want it? Let's save it.
UNC has its best defensive midfield on. English and Marr, the shorties, right the pole. Owen Hiltz, 3 assists today. Matched against Geppert. Dangerous pass. Diving on the ground, Spallina. He had possession, and Syracuse got the timeout with 1:08 to go. It looked like Egan there almost picked that off, and it would have been a lead for bringing the turtleneck and the jacket, the rain jacket. I was prepared for the weather. Nice and hot.
Coach Nate.
1:08 to go, 4th quarter, tied at 14.
You don't like this game.
It's Syracuse ball, 35 on the shot clock, and it'll be Joey Spallina to trigger on the far side against Evan Egan, one of Carolina's captains. Spallina's got the last 2 settled goals for Syracuse. He plays catch with Finn Thompson, freshman to freshman, 2 of the top recruits in their class. Spallina, right hand free. And who wins the race to the end line? It is Hiltz. Closest to the ball when it goes out, gets possession, and it hit the goalie. So Syracuse can now hold for 1.
Yeah, now you're holding it out. Now you are taking the last shot. push it to overtime, or you're going to win the game by 1 right here.
Kirst taking his time.
Straight line, physical dodger who wants to use his body to set up his right hand.
He'll go at Paul Barton. Kirst, serpents around the crease. It comes to Leo, the freshman, down the alley. Leo getting inside, shoots, scores. Was he in the crease? No, it's a goal, and the Orange lead with 12 seconds to go. The freshman down the stretch, Spolino with 2 big goals, and now his old childhood buddy from Long Island, Michael Leo, with the go-ahead tally.
You talk about guts. So Michael Leo gets us up top of the formation. He's covered by the pole. Common methodology would say, move it on. Someone else has got the shorty, but he takes the pole down the side and he cuts it across. He's able to dive with the tangent of the crease. Right there, that subtle change of direction, a little rocker. Dodging is not so much about speed, but it's about change of speed, and he set that up.
We get a timeout from Joe Bresci, and for North Carolina, you still have a great chance here because you have Andrew Tyre. He scored 13 goals this season, the UNC face-off man. He leads all face-off men in goals, and if he can't get it himself, he can create for the guys on the wing. Carolina's not out of this.
Your first step is towards your own goal on the wing.
Cuse was down in this game. Really for most of the game. They took a 9-8 lead with a Cole Kirst, and then Carolina came back. Spolina's been clutch late. One of the storylines of this game was Syracuse sloppy clearing that's led to a bunch of Carolina goals in transition. And now it comes down to this final face-off for the Orange. You know, what's important here is your draw man, okay? We'll see who it is for the Orange. You're taking away Tyre's ability to go out the front side, Anish. So the pinch and pop, you got to take the pinch and pop out of the equation. You're sending one wing into a defensive posture. Looks like it's on the far side, Sam Alexo.
DeMarco and Schertzinger on the wings. Tyre picks it up. Tyre drives past Rachusa. Tyre still going. Tyre to the crease. Shot off target. Time expires. There was a flag down.
Syracuse is offsides.
But Carolina played it out. And Syracuse gets a 15-14 win.